Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is the 12th December 2024. In this video, I'm going to generate different supply demand zone reports useful to the premium subscribers. Our complete free training course on supply demand zone price action you can access. I have provided the link in this video description. So please join in that link and you can access all the training lessons. Even Telegram channel also provided in this video description. Please join at our Telegram channel. Okay, now let's start the generation of different reports related to price near demand and supply zones for different time frames. Starting with half yearly time frame, stocks near half yearly demand zone. We did not find any stocks. Next, half yearly time frame, stocks near half yearly supply zone. One stock is filtered. I'm giving you only few seconds time to watch the report. I request you complete our training lesson 21.1. In that video, I explained each and every column, their values and abbreviations in detail. Okay, next time frame is quarterly, stocks near quarterly demand zone. One stock is filtered. Next, quarterly time frame, stocks near quarterly supply zone. 6 stocks are filtered. Next time frame is monthly, stocks near monthly demand zone. 7 stocks are filtered. Next, monthly time frame, stocks near monthly supply zone. 6 stocks are filtered. Next, monthly time frame, price closed inside the monthly demand zone. This monthly demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count column, at monthly time frame, I'm setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. So that zones won't be pierced. 15 stocks are filtered where price closed inside monthly demand zone. We can further filter these stocks based on monthly EMA Confluence. Let's filter those stocks. In the EMA Confluence, monthly time frame, monthly demand zone having monthly EMA Confluence. And in the EMA Confluence, the trend should not be sideways. So in the trend, monthly time frame, I'm selecting up or down trend. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 8 stocks. These 8 stocks price currently closed in the monthly demand zone, and these monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA Confluence. Okay, next monthly time frame, price closed inside monthly supply zone. Inside monthly supply zone, this monthly supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, at monthly time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Now let's filter. 9 stocks are filtered where price closed inside monthly supply zone. Among these 9 monthly supply zones, how many are having EMA Confluence, monthly EMA Confluence? So we can further filter with the EMA Confluence on monthly time frame. I am setting the filter monthly supply zone having monthly EMA Confluence. And EMA Confluence trend should not be sideways. So in trend monthly time frame, I am selecting up or down. Let's filter. We got only one stock, the monthly supply zone having EMA Confluence. Okay, this is about monthly time frame. Next time frame is a weekly, stocks near weekly demand zone. We got 14 stocks. Next weekly time frame, stocks near weekly supply zone. We got 7 stocks. Next weekly time frame, price closed inside weekly demand zone. These weekly demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at weekly time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means weekly demand zone is not pierced. We got 15 stocks. Currently price closed in these 15 weekly demand zones. Out of these 15, there could be some high probability demand zones based on weekly EMA Confluence. So these 15 stocks let us filter further with the EMA Confluence at weekly time frame. We are setting weekly demand zone having weekly EMA Confluence filter. And also the trend on the weekly time frame should not be sideways. So I am selecting up or down. With these filters, we got 6 stocks. And these 6 are high probability weekly zones because these weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA Confluence and also price closed inside these weekly demand zones. Next, weekly time frame. Price closed inside weekly supply zone, and these weekly supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at weekly time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means the weekly zone is not pierced. Supply zone. Let's filter. We got a good number of stocks. First 15 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 36 stocks are filtered, where price currently closed inside these weekly supply zones. And we can further filter based on high probability parameter weekly EMA Confluence. Supply zones, weekly supply zones having weekly EMA Confluence. So let us apply that filter on these stocks. So in the EMA Confluence at a weekly time frame, weekly supply zone having weekly EMA Confluence filter is enabled, and also the trend should not be sideways in weekly time frame. So I am selecting up or down. Let's filter. See, from 36 we got 13 stocks. These 13 supply zones, weekly supply zones, are having weekly EMA Confluence, and also price closed inside these weekly supply zones. So this is about weekly time frame. Next time frame is daily. Entry time frame daily. Let us find the stocks near daily demand zone. 10 stocks are filtered. Let us identify high liquidity zones from this list. It is a pierced zone, Godrej, so it is not a valid stock because it is pierced. HFCL, high liquidity zone. Today we discussed HFCL in our HLQ analysis video. That's it. We don't have any other high liquidity zones. Only one zone we identified from this daily time frame. Okay, next entry time frame daily. Let us find the stocks near daily supply zone. 5 stocks are filtered. Let us identify high liquidity zones. IOC is having a high liquidity zone. Laurus Labs is also having a high liquidity zone. So total 2 stocks filtered from this list. We have 2 high liquidity daily supply zones. Okay, next time frame is not next time frame, sorry, daily time frame. Let us find the stocks where price closed inside daily demand zone, and these daily demand zones should not be pierced. So daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means pierced count should be 0. That means daily demand zone is not pierced. Let's filter. We got a big list. First 16 stocks in the list. I'm scrolling the list down, further down. So total 26 stocks are filtered where price closed inside daily demand zone. We can further filter these stocks with the EMA Confluence. These are daily demand zones having daily EMA Confluence. Let us add that filter in the EMA Confluence at a daily time frame. Daily demand zone having daily EMA Confluence. And with the EMA Confluence, the trend should not be sideways. So in the trend at a daily time frame, I am selecting up or down trend, but not sideways. Let's filter. We got 10 stocks. And in these 10 demand zones, daily demand zones having daily EMA Confluence. And also current price is closed in the daily demand zone. So this is about daily demand zones. Next, for daily time frame, price closed inside daily supply zone, and these daily supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at a daily time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Let's filter. Again, we got a big list. First 15 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 26 stocks are filtered where price closed inside daily supply zones. We can further filter this list with daily supply zones having daily EMA Confluence. Let us filter those stocks. In the EMA Confluence, daily time frame, daily supply zone having daily EMA Confluence filter is enabled. And when EMA Confluence is enabled, the trend should not be sideways. So in the trend at a daily time frame, I am selecting as up or down. Let's filter the stocks. We got only 3 stocks out of 26. In these 3 stocks, the demand zones, the daily supply zones having daily EMA Confluence. And price also closed inside the daily supply zone. So this is about daily time frame. Next time frame is 125 minutes. Price near 125 minutes demand zone. We got more stocks. First 15 in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 17 stocks are filtered. Okay. Next 125 minutes time frame. Stocks near 125 minute supply zone. 4 stocks are filtered. Okay, next time frame is 75 minutes. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Let us find the stocks near 75 minutes demand zone. So we got 16 stocks. Let us identify the high liquidity 75 minutes demand zones from this list. NIFTY FMCG not listed in F&O, you can leave it. Navin Florin is having a high liquidity daily demand zone. That's it. We have only one high liquidity 75 minutes demand zone from this list. Okay, next 75 minutes time frame. Price near 75 minutes supply zone. 6 stocks are filtered. Let us identify high liquidity supply zones from this list. About India is having a high liquidity supply zone, 75-minute supply zone. That's it. We don't have any other valid 75-minute supply zones. So we identified one high liquidity 75-minute supply zone from this list. Okay, the next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near 25 minutes demand zone. 8 stocks are filtered. Next 25 minutes time frame, stocks near 25 minutes supply zone. We got again 8 stocks. Okay, next time frame is 15 minutes. Stocks near 15 minutes demand zone. We got 9 stocks. And let us filter this list further with demand zone confluence. That is LTF confluence. LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. With this filter, out of 9 stocks, we got 4 stocks. These 4 demand zones, 15 minutes demand zones, are part of the 75 minutes demand zone. What means it's overlapped. That is what zone confluence. Okay, next 15 minutes time frame. Stocks near 15 minutes supply zone. We got 7 stocks. Out of these 7, how many are having ITF supply zone confluence? Let's filter. 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. So with this filter, out of 7 stocks, we got 5 stocks. All these 5 supply zones, 15 minute supply zones, are part of the 75 minute supply zone. Okay, next time frame is 5 minutes. Stocks near 5 minutes demand zone. 11 stocks are filtered. Out of these 11, how many are having ITF confluence? Let us filter. In the demand zone confluence, I am enabling 5 minutes demand zone with 15 minutes demand zone confluence. With this filter, we got 6 out of 11, we got 6 stocks. In that few demand zones, one demand zone is pierced, the fourth one, it is invalid. Okay, next for 5 minutes time frame, stocks near 5 minutes supply zone, we got 9 stocks. Out of these 9, how many are having ITF supply zone confluence? Let us filter. In the supply zone confluence, 5 minute supply zone with 15 minute supply zone confluence, I am enabling the filter. With this filter, out of 9, we got 3 stocks. And all these 3 5 minute supply zones are part of the 15 minute supply zone. So this is about stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. Next, let us identify NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. Let's start with NIFTY. Starting with monthly time frame, generating monthly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. So this is NIFTY monthly supply demand zone chain. Always look into the zone column to find high liquidity zones. Look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones. And look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected. The same rules you can apply to remaining supply demand zone chain reports. Okay, next, weekly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 125 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 75 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 25 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 15 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, 5 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. You have only few demand zones from column 27 onwards. I am scrolling the list further down so that you can find more demand zones. Okay, this is about NIFTY. Next, let us generate supply demand zone chain for NIFTY Bank. That is nothing but BANKNIFTY. Monthly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, weekly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, 125 minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, 75 minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, 25 minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, 15 minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, 5 minute supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. So this is about the BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. So the next set of reports are about bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly, weekly and daily income trades. First, let us start with monthly income trade bullish trade setup, entry time frame daily, entry zone demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at a daily time frame, entry time frame, I am selecting bullish. These daily demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at a daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means the zone is not pierced. Zone achievement, violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All the three filters are applied to daily demand zone. With these filters, we got around 20 stocks. The first 19 in the list. I am scrolling the list down. Okay. So total 20 stocks are filtered. All these 20 stocks currently supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. The entry zones are daily demand zones. Out of these 20 daily demand zones, there could be some high probability setup supported zones might be available. We need to filter them. So the first filter we are going to use LTF and ITF based filter as per the concepts you learned in lesson 27. Okay, I'm further going to filter by adding the filter LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is nothing but a daily and a weekly demand zone confluence. So I'm enabling this filter. With this filter, we got out of 20, we got 15 stocks. That means all these daily demand zones are part of the weekly demand zone. That means the daily zones are overlapped with weekly demand zone. That is what zone confluence. That means weekly zone is taking control because daily is part of weekly. Weekly plays the major role. Because weekly trend is uptrend, out of these 15, if any of these weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA confluence, there could be even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. Because daily zone is part of the weekly zone, in the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, I am enabling the filter weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. So with this filter, we got 8 stocks. So that means in all these 8 stocks, the daily demand zone is part of the weekly demand zone, and weekly trend is up, and the weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA confluence. So all these 8 demand zones, daily demand zones, whatever you are seeing is daily demand zone, entry zones. But these entry zones is part of the weekly zones. And that weekly zone is having weekly EMA confluence. So that's why these 8 are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. So I am removing this EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, that is daily with weekly. Next filter, daily demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. Third filter, weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters enabled, LTF, ITF, HTF zone confluence, we got 2 stocks. So these 2 demand zones, daily zone is part of the weekly zone, both together part of the monthly zone. And moreover, the second one is having high liquidity zone. Okay. Now, among these 2, if any of these stocks are having, because the HTF trend is up, and daily and weekly together part of the monthly zone. And if the monthly zone is having monthly EMA confluence, that zone is even more high probability trade setup. Already it is high probability, LTF, ITF, HTF zone confluence. If EMA confluence is there, it is even more high probability. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, because daily and weekly together are part of the monthly zone. That's why we are looking for monthly demand zone with monthly EMA confluence. These strategies you learned in lesson 27. So none of those stocks are having monthly EMA confluence. No issues. So this is about bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry time frame daily. Entry zone should be supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at daily time frame, I am selecting bearish. These daily supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at a daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0, and these daily zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All 3 filters are applied to daily supply zone because you have selected daily supply zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 4 stocks. Currently these 4 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. The entry zones are daily supply zones. Some of these daily supply zones might be having high probability trade setup zones. First filter is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. So in the supply zone confluence, we have to enable the filter daily supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. With this filter, we got 4 stocks. All 4 stocks are filtered. That means all these daily demand zones are part of the weekly demand zone. and weekly trend is down in all the stocks, that is ITF trend. Because daily is part of the weekly and the weekly zone is having weekly EMA confluence, it is even more high probability trade setup. Let's verify. So weekly demand supply zone having weekly EMA confluence, filter is enabled. With this filter we got two stocks. So these two are high probability trade setup supported stocks because the weekly zone is a part of the daily zone is part of the weekly zone and weekly zone is having weekly EMA confluence. Always look into the search strategy. This will tell you how we are filtering the stocks. Okay. So next let us use LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence. I am removing the filter. Earlier LTF and ITF confluence we got 4 stocks. Out of 4 stocks, how many are having even HTF confluence? Supply zone confluence. 3 filters we have to set. First filter is daily and weekly, already enabled. Second filter daily supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. Third filter is weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence, we got only 1 stock. And if this stock is having monthly EMA confluence, because daily and weekly part of monthly, this is even more high probability trade setup. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence, monthly time frame, monthly supply zone having monthly EMA confluence filter is enabled, and the stock is even more high probability trade setup supply zone, this daily supply zone. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup, monthly income trade. Next report is about weekly income trade. First one, weekly income trade, bullish trade setup. Entry time frame is 75 minutes. Entry zone is demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at 75 minutes time frame, I am selecting bullish. And this 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. And zone achievement, violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 12. All 3 filters are applied to 75 minutes demand zone. Let's filter. So we got 12 stocks. All these 12 demand zones, 75 minutes demand zones are supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry zones are 75 minutes demand zones. Out of these 12 75 minutes demand zones, there could be some high probability setup zones might be available. We need to filter them. So first filter is based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. Let's find that stock. LTF and ITF, that means 75 and daily demand zone confluence. So I am enabling that filter, 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With this filter, now we got 9 stocks. In all these 9 stocks, these 75 minutes entry demand zones are part of the daily demand zone. And the daily trend is up in all the stocks. ITF trend is up. If any of these stocks are having a daily EMA confluence, because 75 minutes demand zone is a part of the daily demand zone. If daily demand zone is having daily EMA confluence, that is they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence filter is enabled, because 75 minutes entry demand zone is part of the daily demand zone. That's why we are looking for daily demand zone with daily EMA confluence. With this filter, we got 5 stocks. All these 5 are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay, the next filter is LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. I am removing this EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First one is already enabled, 75 with daily Next, second filter, 75 minutes demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. Third filter, daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. With all the three filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, demand zone confluence, we got three stocks. In all the three stocks, these are all 75 minutes demand zones. These three 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone, both together again part of the weekly demand zone. Weekly means HTF. So the HTF trend is up in all the three stocks. If any of these three stocks are having weekly EMA confluence, that stock is even more high probability trade setup supported stock. Let us verify. In the EMA confluence at a weekly time frame, weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, we got two stocks. These two are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay. This is about bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Entry zone supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes, I am selecting bearish. These 75 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All three filters are applied to 75 minute supply zone. Now let's verify. We got 7 stocks. So these 7 stocks are currently supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. The entry zones are 75 minute supply zones. All these 75 minute supply zones, we have 7 75 minute supply zones. Out of these 7 stocks, there could be some high probability supported 75 minute supply zones might be available. We need to filter them. First filter is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. Let's verify. That is 75 minutes and daily supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. With this filter, we got 6 stocks. Out of 7, these 6 stocks are filtered. That means in all the 6 stocks, these 75 minute supply zones are part of the daily supply zone. That is what ITF confluence. So ITF trend is down. That means daily trend is down. So we can look for daily EMA confluence. Daily supply zones with daily EMA confluence to find even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. So in the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence filter is enabled. With this filter, out of 6 stocks, we got only 1 stock. So this supply zone is even more high probability trade setup supported stock. And also it is a high liquidity zone. A 75 minutes high liquidity zone. This zone is part of the daily zone. The daily zone is having daily EMA confluence. Daily supply zone. Okay, this 75 minute supply zone is more high probability trade setup supported zone. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence. So I am removing this EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, 75 with daily. Next 75 minute supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. Daily supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 3 stocks. In these 3 supply zones, these are all the 75 minute supply zones. These 3 75 minute supply zones are part of the daily supply zone. Again, both together part of the weekly supply zone in all the 3 stocks. And weekly trend is down in only 1 stock, remaining 2 sideways. You can ignore them. The first one is having a weekly EMA confluence. It is even more high probability trade setup supported stock. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence, weekly time frame, weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. With this filter, all three we got, but ignore second and third because trend is sideways. First one only you should consider downtrend, because EMA Confluence makes sense only in the trending market, uptrend or downtrend, but not sideways. Because it is bearish trade setup supported stocks, we look for downtrend. Okay, this is about a bearish trade setup for a weekly income trade. The next income trade is a daily income trade. In daily income trade, bullish trade setup, entry time frame 15 minutes, entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting bullish. These 15 minutes demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 12. All three filters are applied to 15 minutes demand zone. Let's verify. We got 10 stocks, and these 10 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade, and entry zones are 15 minutes demand zones. All these 10 stocks having 15 minutes demand zones, there could be some high probability 15 minutes demand zones might be available. We need to filter them. The first filter is based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. Let us add that filter, 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. The filter is enabled. With this filter, we got 8 stocks. That means in all these 8 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 75 minutes demand zones. That means they are part of 75 minutes demand zone. And 75 means ITF. The ITF trend is up in all the 8 stocks. And if those 75 minutes demand zones are having daily EMA confluence, they could be even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let us verify. In the EMA confluence, at 75 minutes time frame, 75 minutes demand zone having daily EMA confluence. With this filter, we got 2 stocks. So these 2 are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks, because 75 minute zone is having daily EMA confluence. Next filter is LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. I am removing EMA filter. So in the demand zone confluence, we need to set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, that is 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. Second filter is a 15 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. Third filter is 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we got 3 stocks. In these 3 stocks, these 15 minutes, all these are all 15 minutes demand zones. So these 3 15 minutes demand zones, they are part of the daily, 75 minutes demand zones. Both together again part of the daily demand zone. And daily trend is up for second stock and third stock. If these 2 stocks are having daily EMA confluence, if any of these 2 stocks, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Sideways we can ignore, because EMA confluence does not make in sideways trend, because we are looking for HTF. Why we like HTF? Because LTF and ITF together are part of the HTF zone. That's why we are looking for HTF EMA confluence. So in the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, because 15 minutes and 75 minutes together part of the daily zone. That's why we are looking for daily demand zone with daily EMA confluence. With this filter, out of those 2 stocks, none of the stocks are having EMA confluence. No issues. But LTF, ITF, EMA confluence stocks are available. Okay, next let us look for bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame 15 minutes, entry zone, supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes, I am selecting bearish. And out of these 15-minute supply zones, they should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means 15-minute supply zone is not pierced. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All three filters are applied to 15-minute supply zone. Now let us filter the stocks. We got 9 stocks. These 9 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade. The entry zones are 15-minute supply zones. Out of these 9 15-minute supply zones, there could be some high probability setup supported zones might be available. We need to filter them. The first filter is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 15-minute supply zone having confluence with 75-minute supply zone. So I am enabling the filter 15-minute supply zone with 75-minute supply zone confluence. With this filter, we got 8 stocks. In all these 8 stocks, these 15-minute supply zones are part of the 75-minute supply zone. That means they are overlapped with 75-minute supply zone. And the 75 minutes trend is down. 75 means ITF. The trend is down. So if these 75-minute supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame, 75-minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence, filter is enabled. With this filter, we did not get any stocks. So that means we don't have any EMA confluence related stocks for LTF and ITF. So the next filter is LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence. I am removing this EMA filter. With the LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence, that is nothing but 15 minutes, 75 minutes and daily supply zone confluence. We need to set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled. Second filter 15-minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. Third filter is 75-minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, supply zone, confluence, we got 4 stocks. In these 4 stocks, these 15-minute supply zones are part of the 75-minute supply zone, both together again part of the daily supply zone. Daily means HTF. And HTF trend is down in first 3 stocks. In these 3 stocks, if any of these daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, they are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let us verify. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence filter is enabled, because 15-minute zone together with 75-minute zone are part of the daily zone. That's why we are looking for daily supply zone with daily EMA confluence. As per the concepts, you land in lesson 27. Now let's filter the stocks. We got all the 3 having the downtrend. Excellent. All these are all even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. These supply zones. And the second and third supply zones are even high liquidity 15-minute supply zones. So this is about bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And in the final report, let us generate stop buffers based on daily ATR. The first 17 in this list are indices, remaining all are equity stocks. I am scrolling the list down. Whichever the stock you want to refer, there you please pause the video. After that you can proceed further. I am scrolling the list down. So this is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for your further study and analysis. Let's all meet again in our next video. Thank you.